What's up, everybody? It's Wes, Hank, and Andy. Welcome back to Sunday night. It's our little show here. Fandom Power presents the Acolyte in review. First thing I want to say, I just want to apologize. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I have a connection issue or if I've got a faulty connection between my camera and my capture
There's a
card.
disturbance in the force.
There's a disturbance in the way that I'm talking. Hank said I could just be Max Headroom tonight. I thought that would be
bitty. It's not so bad. Not so bad.
Audio is okay though. Everybody can hear me good.
TJC in the house.
TJC here tonight. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Glad to see you on board for this evening's discussion. Before we get to any of that stuff, though, we should open it up with, where is it here? There it is. Let's try one of these.
Bad Star Wars jokes.
I'm on the ball today. I got one.
Excellent.
All right. Gentlemen, what did Yoda say the first time he saw himself in high definition?
Whoa.
Huh? HD, am I?
Very good.
Yeah. That's excellent, actually.
Fantastic question, TJ. We just had like a crazy heat wave roll through here, which put us into like 40 plus Celsius with humidity, which is very unseasonable. It's very strange for this portion of Ontario where we are. 30 is not unheard of.
No.
40, that's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then it's been interspersed with like tornado warnings and wind warnings and rain warnings.
Thunderstorms. And
we're under a heavy rain warning right now. It rained a bit this morning. We're supposed to get some tonight.
It's looking a little cloudy out there.
Weather could be playing a role in why I'm not why this isn't working as well tonight.
Could be. And I'm on a whole other end of the country, and weather's pretty much been the same.
Bizarre, especially for you on the East Coast.
Yeah, we hit 33 one day, which is in June. That might have been
crazy.
That might have been a record that day.
Yeah.
We're fairly consistently, never above 25, and
well, you should be getting that sea breeze, right?
Yeah. TJ is probably thinking, what are you guys talking about? 25.
Hank, this is completely off topic. I saw a thing today from somebody that I used to work with out in Halifax, and they posted a picture today of a mega yacht in the harbor. Have you seen this thing? The Samana?
No, I haven't. I seen something large coming in the other day, like way off. Like my balcony is a good shot of the entry of the harbor. So I saw something sizable coming in. It happens so often. Every once in a while, I'll grab my binoculars and check out what's out there, get to see some cool stuff. But no, I didn't know that. That's real cool.
So there's this photo that they posted, and I checked it out. The name's on the side, the Samana. I looked it up. It is rumored to belong to J.K. Rowling.
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Who apparently is on a little vacation right now. Apparently, checking out Canada.
Halifax. It astounds me that this is a place where people would come.
People want to go.
Everybody wants to go there. You got Oak Island. It's all about treasure.
Oh, that's true. That is true. You think she's there for the gold?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
A yacht like that, she definitely needs more gold, right?
Oh no. I'm sure the royalties are still rolling in.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want to preface this one with a couple of things. One, this one, for some strange reason, there's a point in this episode this week where, and I know that a lot of these episodes, we do this to some degree, that there is a modicum of interpretation. But there is a sequence in this week's episode where, like, the visual, whether it's a lighting issue or something else, I really had to interpret what I thought I was seeing based on a character's emotional response. And so when we get there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, but it is my interpretation of what I was seeing. Hopefully, if you guys have a different interpretation of that, I look forward to discussing that.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also that other thing that set the internet on fire again.
Well, there is that, but that we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Something else I want to discuss. Normally we start off with a scraping of the title. Did you guys get anything out of the title day?
Nothing except for the next episode will be called Night.
Well, I mean,
maybe
it was the mission, right?
It's very see-through.
Funny that you say that now, Hank, because when I think about it now, the episode makes a point to show us the sun going down at several stages. So you're probably right.
Yeah,
you are probably right. Night. Plus, we have the bug things that are attracted
set to
light.
come out.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Okay,
Clash of the Titans quality bugs.
I quite like them actually.
I was kind of hoping they were just gonna like leap off the trees and do ground battles, but
I wasn't expecting
flight element.
To be honest, I was not expecting something that was going to fly. I thought it was going to like skittle down on the skittle, chitter, chittle. Well, you know what I mean. Crawl down the tree,
scamper.
Delicious.
Yeah, that's okay. After last week, where's everybody feeling this week with this week's episode?
I enjoyed it. I'm liking it now better after last episode, just because I got more backstory and more points of view to consider. And
so you liked the full episode flashback.
Yes,
and that makes this episode
a bit better
for you,
because I know the people going into it now a little bit better. I know some of the motivations, and we see some of the motivations that are still hidden but need to come out.
Okay.
I guess credit where credit's due. I find them to be very consistent.
Fair enough.
For me.
When you say consistent, you are meaning consistently poor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, that's fair. But you are still on board. You're still watching.
Oh yeah. This one had lightsabers. It gets automatically gets 1 point.
So everything gets better with lightsabers. All right. Fair
totally.
Enough. All right. Well, let's get into the episode. Let me bring up our. Where is that one? That's the one I'm looking for. And what happened there?
Next one over. That's the 6-man.
Wow, you think I'm new or something? Okay, this one is a Star Wars: The Acolyte episode 4. This one is called Day. This one originally aired on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. This one, again, we have dual writing credits. We have Claire Keichel and Cor Adana. Both writers have worked in genre television before, with Claire having written for HBO's Watchmen and the Netflix series The OA. You guys seen that one?
I have not seen The OA.
I watched it.
Watchmen was awesome.
The first season, I think.
I liked it.
Yeah.
There was like a second, like a TV movie thing. It wasn't. It was a little different. And then Cor has written for Netflix's The Imperfects, Mr. Robot for the USA Network. Mr. Robot with Rami Malek. This one is directed by Garcia Lopez. Now, if you are not familiar with his work, he did do 5 episodes of the live-action Cowboy Bebop.
Okay,
I know that wasn't received very well. He's done 2 episodes of The Witcher, 1 episode of Netflix's Punisher, and 2 episodes of Daredevil.
Well, those are both winners.
So when you talk about quality, the writing directing combination this week, I think, lends itself to what we got. The fact that all 3 of these people have worked in genre television and have some decent credits. All right, our advertised runtime this week, wow, the shortest, I believe this is the shortest episode of live action Star Wars television across any of the new shows. Advertised at 35 minutes, comes in at an actual 27 minutes and 2 seconds without titles or credits. I believe it is the shortest episode ever. Our plot synopsis this week reads, racing to the next target, the Jedi head to a new world as they close in on the clever assassin.
Oh, poor TJ.
What? Oh, no. Really? Wednesdays in the UK? That's awful.
It's like 2 a.m. there, yeah, by the time it hits.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to stay up, you could.
Was it like Thursday morning under the old system, though?
Oh, that's
because remember we used to get it
Wednesdays.
4 a.m. my time in Halifax.
I was just not getting up that early.
Yeah.
There's just no way I'm doing that.
That was when it was worth it.
Well, different show, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. The episode opens on the forested planet of Kofar. The exiled Jedi Master Kelnaka returns to his makeshift domicile constructed from the wreckage of a crashed starship.
Now, do we know for sure that he's exiled?
Could be self-imposed.
Like self-exile, kind of like Torben putting himself into self-preservation.
Like self-imposed. I know there's a line later on that suggests that he's actually assigned here. But I find it strange that presumably this is the ship that he arrived in.
You would think so,
but it's pretty messed up.
Claimed by the forest.
I had questioned if this was a starship. Descriptive audio says yes, it is. Not that descriptive audio is 100% reliable. I got a good one for you this week. Descriptive audio was blatantly wrong on something. It actually makes it kind of funny. Well, the ship has been here for a long time, as trees have now grown inside of it. At a small cooking station, the Wookiee Jedi prepares some food. Interestingly, all around him, the walls are adorned with carvings and hand-drawn images of what resembles Anastasia and May's ascension tattoo. I don't know why he's got a strange fixation with this, but
haunted by that symbol,
I guess. Thanks to this week's episode guide, we learn that in earlier versions of the story, it was considered to have Kelnaka actually hiding out on Kashyyyk, but it was opted to go for a new world instead. Also, we learn that the trees and the root systems of the trees were particularly inspired by a number of Ralph McQuarrie paintings, including the one of Dagobah that inspired the ice spiders from the episode of The Mandalorian.
Nice.
TJ says, maybe he was assigned there, but crashed and thought he would play dead. I don't know.
Well, what would cause him to crash, though? I mean, it's not like it doesn't look like a heavily, inhabited planet.
Not really, no.
And there's no visible, just surface to air defenses.
Not that we know of.
Not yet. But
I don't know.
We haven't explored the planet enough yet, right?
There is a little bit of confusion, though, as to who knows what about him and where he's at, because it is suggested that they know he's there, because the word recall is the word used. Recall him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right. At the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Jackie Lon, along with various other Padawans, move through a Boken Kata under the guidance of Jedi Master Lakshay. Moving between his students, he addresses the class. Keep each movement tight, yet subtle. Diminish areas of vulnerability. Maximize your defenses without need to strike. Osha stands in the open doorway of the chamber watching. Then a chime sounds and Master Lakshay dismisses the class, but not before holding two students back to review their opening stance. Spotting Osha in the doorway, Jackie greets her, and she's surprised when Osha tells her that she's come to say goodbye. Osha thanks Jackie for helping her find her sister and clearing her name in the murder of Master Endara. Well, Jackie says that she thought Osha would stay until the Jedi apprehended May, positing that she must be curious after all these years. Osha tells her that May is the Jedi's problem now, and she isn't a Jedi anymore. With a half smile, Osha sarcastically mutters, "Don't tell me you'll miss me." And Jackie breaks into a wide smile of her own and chuckles a little bit. But her emotional display is quickly contained, and she's all serious again when she says, "You care about May. You mourn the years lost between the two of you." Osha tells her that someone has to find May before she does any more harm, but that person isn't her. Pausing for a moment, Osha adds, I can't. Changing the subject, she tells Jackie that next time that she's on Coruscant, she'll look her up and the two of them can trade stories about Master Saul. Jackie smiles at the notion before asking if Osha said goodbye to him. Turning her mouth up in a bit of a sneer, she rolls her eyes as she says, "I've caused him enough trouble." All right, our Jedi Master Lakshay, Jedi Master Lakshay. He's played by Paul Boulian. He is a new character. This is his first appearance in any Star Wars media. North American audiences may remember him. May remember Paul as Lambert from The Witcher on Netflix. Other roles, recent roles, include Oscar in Vikings Valhalla and an unnamed Sardaukar soldier in part 1 of Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
He looks like he'd fit a good Viking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And TJC has a point here for Kelnaka.
Kelnaka, he may have been drunk.
Never drink and fly.
When he thundered in with the ship.
Yep.
Yeah. That's possible. Cut back to Kofar, where May's ship comes in for a landing. It's an unusual design resembling a real-world catamaran with its primary hull suspended between 2 long outriggers. After the ship lands, May and Chimere load backpacks in preparation to go off in search of Kelnaka. May wastes no time and she tries heading out on her own, but Chimere cautions her that Kofar is a world largely uncharted, and he knows bounty hunters that wouldn't travel the forests. May retorts, "Oh, but you have." Chimere, being jester-like as ever, trips over one of the storage bins. Then picking it up, he tells her, yes, he has been in the forests to find the Wookiee, adding that it was hard. Pointing at the dense forest, May balks. "You went in there to help my master?" Chimere's answer is sincere and thoughtful when he says, "No, I went in there to help you." May looks off contemplatively, while Chimere slides back into his impish self. "Admit it, you need me." He hands her a flask, but when she goes to grab it, Chimere holds on to it to get her attention. He tells her that even though her sister is alive, it doesn't change anything. She made a deal, and she needs to kill the Wookiee. May holds his gaze for a second before retorting, "There's only 3 hours of sun left, and they should get going." Chimere releases the flask, and the two of them head off over a stone bridge into the dense forest. And we cut to our title card, the Acolyte. And then I have an interesting point here. As you all know, I'm a bit of a ship nerd.
Yes.
I was looking at the ship as it comes in for a landing, and I was like, have we seen this design before? And I wondered if it was one of the vessels we saw in the trailer. So I went and I scrubbed the trailers for the show, and I was able to find this scene, which I believe is actually cut from episode 1. When she goes at the very end, she walks down the beach to meet the master.
Yeah.
And he brandishes his lightsaber. I believe this is the same planet, the rocky, watery place, but for some reason, it's not in the episode. Unless they go back there again.
Which is possible.
But anyway, there's the weird looking ship. All right. In a dark chamber somewhere within the Jedi Temple, an assembly of Jedi Masters, including Saul, gathers around a holotable watching footage of May in combat. All the Jedi present here are adorned in formal white robes, except for Saul, who's still wearing brown. A human woman, Master Holden, remarks that she is fast but weak, noting that her emotions guide her every choice in combat. Well, Syrian Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi remarks that even so, she does display some skill. Saul agrees, pointing out that someone has trained her, but May doesn't know her master's identity. But she does fear him. Master Mundi remarks that an apprentice who doesn't know their own master is absurd. Master Holden questions if what they are seeing could be some kind of splinter order, or maybe something worse. Chatter erupts from the rest of the Jedi. A porcine-faced Jedi asserts that if it were a splinter order, they would know about it. Master Mundi says the girl could become a major threat, but Sol interjects that she's undisciplined. Well, just then, Master Vernestra enters the room. Stepping up to the holotable, she points out to Saul that she was able to elude him and kill 2 Jedi Masters. Touching the table's controls, the image of May fades and is replaced with hollow busts of Masters Torben, Indara, and Kelnaka. The latter two are, that's not right. Kelnaka, Indara, and Torben, the latter two, which are projected in red. Saul agrees with her. He tries to tell her why the 3 were targeted, but Master Vernestra cuts him off. 4 Jedi. The same 4 Jedi that were stationed on May's home planet when she was a child. Walking around the table opposite to where Saul is standing, Vernestra calls it odd that this girl turns up all these years later, then shoots an accusatory look at Saul as she professes that she was trained by one of their own. Master Holden asks if she thinks a Jedi trained her. Arrogantly, Vernestra barks, even a hologram can tell me that. Master Mundi says they must alert the Jedi High Council. But Vernestra counters that if they did that, the High Council would tell the Senate, and this scandal would inspire fear and mistrust of the Jedi among them. She says they should handle this themselves. Glaring at Saul, Vernestra says they must learn who trained her, and he nods in agreement. She then instructs Master Holden to extract Kelnaka from his post on Kofar and intercept and apprehend May. Holden asks, what if she doesn't come peacefully? Vernestra skirts the question, saying she doesn't expect it to come to that, and she then adjourns the meeting and leaves the chamber. Master Soul chases after her, stopping her in the hallway. Vernestra rebukes him. Why didn't you tell me about this? Exasperated, Saul says that he did as soon as he knew, but Vernestra stops him short. No, Saul. She questions why he didn't tell her 16 years ago that there was a chance that May survived. Saul professes that he would have if he thought there was a chance, but he was there and he saw her fall, and he's sure that no one could have survived that. By now, Masters Holden and Ki-Adi-Mundi have exited the meeting, and the two of them eye Saul and Vernestra with suspicion. Saul asks to be allowed to bring May in. Master Vernestra insists his personal connection with the twins isn't helpful in this case, but Saul insists that May's objective is not solely her own, telling Vernestra, you must know that. Well, the Mirialan Jedi Master looks around her before taking a step closer to Saul and lowering her voice. I fear May is only a small part of her master's larger plan, a plan that is difficult to see. She suggests that it is some kind of shift, something to tip the scales. Saul posits that if May resists arrest and is neutralized, her master will be lost to them. He says that she won't surrender without getting something in return. Vernestra asks him, do we have something she wants? Saul clenches his jaw as he nods. We talked about this before, not in relation to the Jedi, but talking about the witches.
Mm-hmm.
Could the witches be a splinter group? It's interesting that Master Holden says, could it be a splinter group, suggesting that that's a real thing, that there potentially are splinter groups of Jedi out there in the galaxy.
You have to figure for 10,000 years, there's somebody that had to get pissed off over that at some point.
It's not a surprise to me, though.
No.
Especially when you talk about some of the stuff from Star Wars Legends, there's some great splinter or alternate force using traditions out there. So I'm hoping that just kind of opens the door just a little bit more to some of that.
I mean, even in the novels and the comics, Jedi of this era have a little more autonomy. Like they go off on a solo quest. Just, let people know I'm not going to be in Thursday. I'm going to go fight beasts on Onderon.
Right.
So there is that. I find it difficult that some, and we talked about this in the chat, whether it was one of the role-playing sub councils.
Yep. Oh, I have a slide for that. I want to talk about that actually.
Before we get
but
there,
I find it difficult to believe that any level of command structure within the Jedi Order would keep something from the High Council like such as this. I appreciate the idea, like, okay, let's try to take care of it ourselves, but this is such a high level threat, like, or worse, like they qualify it. There's some sticky language on the internet about what characters know and what they don't know moving forward in the future, but they're poking all around it without saying the S word, right? Like even in the conversation that Soul and Vernestra have, they're poking all around the S word.
Yeah. Oh, and something worse, something to tip the balance.
Yeah, it's a strange, like maybe they think it's so innocuous that we'll just sweep it under the rug, and then we'll tell, I've done this at work. Then I'll tell the big boss that problem arose. I handled it. It's not a problem anymore. So there is that. It's just like grave threat. Like if she becomes powerful, even Ki-Adi-Mundi says it. If she becomes powerful, she could become a major threat. Let's not tell anybody. And then the first words out of Vernestra's mouth are, "Why didn't you tell me?
Why didn't you tell me?" Yeah.
Where did he learn that trick from?
But I want to know, why didn't you tell me what? Like there is a piece we're missing here from the opposite perspective from May, from the last episode.
No, you're right.
And you know, I'm assuming at some point we're going to get that laid out for us.
The events, what happened on the other side of that door.
Yeah.
After the lamp dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that one. Let's check in with the comments here for a second. We've got Andrew Wordna on YouTube. Smash that like button. Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate that. TJ, Major Tactics 101. Never let your enemy know as much about you as you do about them. That's Intelligence 101.
Sound. It's sound.
We got Polar Knights coming in from Twitch. Says, as a barber, I love this show. It is the perfect evolution of beard growth.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Polar Knights. I love that comment. That's fantastic. Another one from TJ. That was my issue with it too. We know the Jedi have grown complacent, but any news of anyone trained in the Jedi arts rings alarm bells.
It's been advertised as a sort of dark side or Sith perspective show, but it doesn't feel that way so far. Like it feels very much rooted in Jedi sensibilities.
I want to touch on that for a second
but it's weird because if there's any character growth to be had here, the Jedi don't learn a damn thing by the time of Phantom Menace. Like not a damn
no,
thing.
Absolutely not. And that came out in our conversation this week about where like I suspect, I'm going to put this out there now. I suspect that by the end of this thing, our master, the stranger, will not be revealed to the Jedi at large. He can't be. For the events of the Phantom Menace to happen as we know them to happen, he cannot be revealed.
And anybody that comes into contact with him has got a limited shelf life.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, how we get there, that could be an interesting ride.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine they won't reveal that to the audience, though.
We will know.
Yeah.
We talk about survivability. And I asked you guys, I know, Andy, I asked you, who do you think makes it out of this alive by the end of the series? I'm thinking the twins.
Probably.
Maybe Jackie. Maybe Saul. But if I'm banking on it, it's the twins and probably nobody else.
Depending on lifespan, it's long enough that everybody could theoretically be dead, except for the longer lifespan characters.
Yeah,
I don't even mean that way. I just mean who's going to survive this? Because I think
fight right there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Soul. I got four episodes, unless they're going to do 3 episodes of flashbacks to explain everything I don't understand.
Going back. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Like really, being that these are all new to us characters with a couple minor exceptions, I don't think we've had enough time to really, get invested in them.
No.
Mm-mm.
And therefore, maybe that's what they're playing at because they're going to get, offed.
Zero impact if we kill off characters we just don't give a damn about.
We get the TPK. I got to tell you, I care about Saul.
Yeah,
he's one of
the more likable.
I guess he's our primary Jedi in this. Certainly, we spent the most time with him.
He's got a certain Mr. Miyagi type vibe to him.
This episode tells us when we get to that emotional beat that I'm talking about, he's hiding something too.
Yeah,
he's hiding something too. He says it to Osha when we get her back to the ship safely. I'll explain everything.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you hiding?
Yeah. What event happened?
No, exactly.
He's been hiding for 16 years.
Coming back around to the idea of that the Sith perspective, I have to ask, because now when I think about it, I don't know the answer. Was there any actual marketing that said this is a Sith perspective show, or are we just collectively going, "Oh, that's what it is"?
I remember us speculating the shit out of this that it was going to be from that perspective.
I thought it was,
but
I thought it was clearly laid out. But maybe you're right,
because like this was one of the ones we knew basically nothing about, and it was all just guesswork.
Yeah,
like I was hoping for like a Palpatine origin story or something, but
I was thinking something like that as well. But then when you put him 200 years,
I
mean, knowing what we know about that character and but again, the whole cloning and that comes later.
Yeah,
it comes much later. Master Vanessa at this point is convinced that she's trained by a Jedi. She says it, trained by one of our own. Even a hologram can tell me that. Right now, she thinks it's a Jedi that trained her or a splinter group of Jedi. So I feel like when it comes to, and we're going to get to this because TJ's he's got some issues with this as well. With Ki-Adi-Mundi's line in the Phantom Menace, the Jedi have been extinct for a millennia.
There's something Gaz said last week about like how the Jedi, there aren't any true Sith. Palpatine is one of the few that, he wasn't discovered by the Jedi Order, but we see, I mean, I guess the Sith that we get, Maul, maybe a candidate like that, but most Sith are fallen Jedi that we encounter even in Legends. So it stands to reason that who could train, especially when they are the moral police of who gets to wield the Force.
As they've positioned themselves in this show, right. They believe that they are the only ones responsible enough.
Right. So that would make sense that she would say, like, only she, who else would be able to train a Jedi but a Jedi? So that makes sense.
Yeah. Let's just get caught up here with the comments. TJ says Ki-Adi-Mundi is the biggest idiot on the council, as he states the Sith haven't been heard of for years, and yet he's present here. We're going to get to that.
If there's something I don't understand, he's full-faced liar. But maybe I don't understand something yet. So
I don't interpret it that he's a liar. I interpret it as right now, because he's taking Vernestra's lead on this. It's not a Sith, it's a Jedi. It is a rogue Jedi that has trained them.
Yeah, at this point, they have no reason to believe that the Sith have re-raised.
Exactly, as an organization, as an order, as a mortal enemy.
Yeah,
but I mean, even the this happened 100 years ago, Qui-Gon, and at that time it all worked out and everything was okay, and it wasn't a Sith. So I know that would pollute it's too much information for Phantom Menace, and we're not going to get a line of dialogue that clarifies something that hasn't been born yet. But it's a weird. It's like I said in the chat. Hey, can we use Yoda? No, you could have Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah.
Can I use Kashyyyk? No,
you can make another world. You just make another world that looks like it. Darkholder on YouTube says, I say the twins and Kai. Who's Kai? Is that a typo? Is that a typo?
Chimera or whatever
Chimera. Chimera. The Padawan Jeki make it out alive. Okay. Also, Saul is the next character in the show. Best character in the show, hands down. The B and the N are beside each other in the keyboard. Gotcha.
Well, he's a sort of nesting.
Could be the Nest character too.
Maybe.
Because like all ties point to something that he has seen or done.
No, you're right. I noticed this in the scene, and then I didn't really think about it until now, and maybe it's just me taking it for granted, but I thought it was interesting enough to point out. It seems that the white robes are for formal temple duties, and the brown robes are your field robes.
Go get them dirty,
as we see in this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's check in with our cast. We've got Master Holden now, and Master Holden is played by Indra Ove. She's a British veteran of film and television. Indra has 67 acting credits to her name, and she's appeared in some things that you've probably seen. Now, she played the VIP stewardess all the way back in 1997's The Fifth Element. She played Mrs. Black in the 2002 Resident Evil, and she's no stranger to Star Wars, having played a First Order officer in 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. All right, and now, because you couldn't avoid it, Master Ki-Adi-Mundi. Now, he is played here, originally played by Silas Carson in the original, the prequel trilogy, all three of them. Here he is played by Derek Arnold. Now, Derek is a puppeteer primarily, with a few acting credits, and he has a long history with Star Wars and indeed other Lucasfilm / Industrial Light and Magic projects. As a puppeteer, he has brought such characters to life on productions like Andor, The Rise of Skywalker, Solo, The Last Jedi, and The Force Awakens. As an actor, he has played Pat, the Drabatan commando that participated in the Rebel assault on Scarif back in Rogue One. He also played two Tarsent alien characters in The Force Awakens, both the New Republic politician Laniver Velikam and Resistance controller Vober Dand. All right, Ki-Adi-Mundi. I just want to tie things up with this just so we can be done with it. I don't think he's lying. I just think, like I said in our private chat this week, I just don't think he's raising any alarm bells until he knows for certain that what it is or what it isn't.
Yeah.
Predicated on that whole, we don't want to instill fear. We don't want to instill
panic. Hey, universe, guess what?
No, exactly. So, I mean, it's nothing until it's something, whether that works for everybody or not.
And with the age shift, I mean, maybe it could just be a matter of senility.
Wow. Okay.
Because like Phantom Menace, we didn't know anything about mental problems, health issues, whatever. But if he's getting up there in age, it could be like Alzheimer's, or part of his history's been just blocked out of his memory.
Possibly. On the age thing, the internet has collectively lost its mind this week. And it seems that the culprit is this trading card from the 2003 card game called Top Trumps, the Star Wars edition, where this game card lists his age as age 70. I went looking for other Legends sources or other sources, period, that actually list his age. There really isn't any. There aren't any.
Even in my Everything You Need to Know About Star Wars source book doesn't have an age for him.
No, it's weird. The other one, the closest thing I have is a reference from this version of the Star Wars role-playing game. This one comes from 2000. Wait, is it 2000? This is the Star Wars role-playing game core rulebook published by Wizards of the Coast. It says that under the entry for the Syrian species, it says they have a maturity rate and a lifespan similar to that of humans. Written in 2000. It's like 3 editions and 1 publishing company out of date in terms of the role-playing game, and like everything else prior to 24. I shouldn't say everything. Most things prior to 2014 relegated to Legends. So people losing their mind over this character suddenly being much older than we thought he was, I don't see the problem. It's not really a big deal.
No. The first time they've retconned stuff and plucked what they wanted from Legends.
Absolutely. The thing that struck me was it's Boba Fett all over again. That's not the Ki-Adi-Mundi I know. Well, it's exactly like Boba Fett, because the Ki-Adi-Mundi has less than 10 minutes of screen time and a handful of lines that amount to nothing.
It also distracts from the actual problems that are like evident in the show, in my opinion.
I looked at it.
Getting all the shine. There are Ki-Adi-Mundi head-sized holes in the plot.
Sure, but nobody knew that. Remember, we've said it before. These shows are shot. They're in the can. Weeks before they ever came out. This isn't something that you're like, between all the internet's upset, we better drop them a character that they can all identify.
No,
with.
I don't mean that. I just mean that like the actual problem. Any actual criticism is getting washed out by the other waves of ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is.
In a dislike camp without being compared to a child molester online. It's crazy.
You can. You just have to know. You just have to be in the right audience.
I guess that's true.
The right people.
Yeah, I've had to just stop.
It's safer.
It's been super healthy. 3 days of no internet at all has been so healthy in terms of Star Wars this week for me.
For me, it was a simple connection to here is the lore connection that keeps you tied to the bigger picture of what's to come.
Which is the same thing Yoda would have done if they'd have had him.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Interesting too to me that the writer of the show came out to qualify a few things.
I don't know if that's probably in reaction to.
Yeah, there has been a ton of weird reactionary stuff. This time it's gotten a little bit out of hand. That's why I'm cutting myself off from it. But the things that she qualified were a little strange, like saying like, we asked for Yoda, but he wasn't tech avail, whatever that was shorthand for, either technically available or
maybe
the technology wasn't available. But it's another one where, can we use Yoda? No, you can have Ki-Adi-Mundi. and somebody else was like, why would you kill the Wookiee without a? She's like, well, budget constraints. So story elements are often cut for. But she actually said that, and the whole internet was like, wait a minute,
yeah,
$180 million. You couldn't have. I think there is from the trailers, there is a Wookiee with a lightsaber fight coming, right?
There is. We are getting another flashback of Kel Naka, definitely with his lightsaber brandished. We've seen it.
Yeah.
But people saying that, for $180 million, you should be able to. Well, you take the responsibility of making a AAA production of any kind and tell me how to spend the money.
Oh, hell yeah. I saw one, it made me laugh. I had to laugh because I'm not in the camp of it's the best thing I've ever seen, but they were doing the breakdown and it was completely fictional. Like, don't get me wrong, I had to laugh, but
sure.
They said 130 million of it was for rewrites. I was like, that's crazy. That's funny as hell.
Oh, that's awesome. What's DJ saying? He says, here's something to ponder. Now, Darth Plagueis would have been a teenager at the time of the time that the Acolyte is set in. He's a Mun, though, not a human. Maybe
they have a long lifespan, don't they? Well,
yes.
I mean,
unless
what's a lifespan now?
I mean,
it's like hyperspace. It could be.
There's tons of theories as to the identity of the stranger. By the way, the credits refer to him and the descriptive audio, the stranger.
The stranger.
He doesn't even get a casting credit as the stranger. However, the stunt double gets a credit as the stranger.
Nice.
So we'll call him the
I'm
stranger.
enjoying some of the lighter hearted, like Smilo Ren. It's kind of funny.
Oh my God. Whoever, I don't know who coined that.
It's really funny though.
That is that is so good. Yeah. Another one from Dark Holder. He says, I think that a lot of Jedi make it out alive, and whoever does says it was nothing to worry about. Do not inform him that it was a rogue Jedi, so he brushes it off.
I just don't like the idea of a conspiracy. Like, kill him off. That makes more sense to me. At least the secret dies with the noble Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Jedi who were left tell him we took losses and it was nothing to worry about. But maybe I'm reading too much. Possibly. All right. Are we any more on Ki-Adi-Mundi and the collective
he's there. He's
meltdown that the fandom was having?
They're making a mountain out of a forehead.
All we need now is Dan Aykroyd to reprise Conehead.
Yeah.
Well, back on Kofar, Chimere and May walk along a mountain trail leading towards a densely forested area. Chimere asks May how she's supposed to kill a Jedi without a weapon, suggesting that it must be some kind of test. He says his curiosity stems from her previous failures, but May says she didn't fail. She killed both Indara and Torben. Chimere counters that she did it her way, and she still has to kill the Wookiee without a weapon. He starts to expunge, your master wants you to, but is suddenly cut off by May, who asks, what kind of deal did you make with him? Chimere says that he didn't make a deal, instead offering, I just owe him. You know how he is. He collects people. May tells him that she's never seen her master's face and asks if Chimere has. He answers, you know I haven't. Pointing at the enormous trees off in the distance, Chimere says that they've reached the perimeter. May, now a step behind him, says she can't believe her sister is Jedi scum, before asking what she was like when Chimere spoke to her. He tells her that she seemed in over her head and also seemed fond of Master Soul. He stumbles to recollect the name, and May's expression darkens when he says it, but then Chimere is back to his bumbling self and cheerfully says, anyways, let's get going. May stands fast for a few seconds before falling in line behind him. I'm just going to throw this out now because this is just the first of a few moments in this episode. If you are of the camp that has already labeled Chimere as the stranger, then this episode positions him as the worst kept secret in Star Wars because it is so it's like we'll just paint him with a giant paintbrush. You're the guy.
Yep.
Is this a red herring?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it is. Just because we still have other candidates out there.
The potential for it to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Of course there is. Yeah, TJ, totally there with you. I've seen a few theories saying they think that Chimere is the master, but I think that would be too easy. I think
that's how much credit I'm giving them.
They definitely want us to think that.
Yeah.
It is so in your face. They want us to think that it's him. And I would go a step far enough to say that at the end of the episode, that it's him in the suit, whether it's his character or not. I believe that Manny Jacinto put that costume on. There's an ungloved hand that looks like a slender man's hand. Okay, there we go. Oh, question for you guys on the identity. What do we think? This is a one that's floating around. Mother Coral.
It's possible.
Yeah,
maybe.
So we all
she's of the Force using tradition, right?
She is.
So
I've seen oh no, it's Anastasia. She's not dead. I'm like, well, we saw her face down in the courtyard. I don't know. Yeah. Was she just knocked out or something?
I mean, Star Wars Mag made a pretty big deal of Mother Coral not being dead on the floor there.
the internet's again. Well, there was no body. Was there? I don't know.
I mean, that would be guess number 2, but it's also pretty. It's like I would like to see it be Soul or something. He's standing right there, but you know what I mean? Like we're expecting a lot. Like I don't know, something left field would be refreshing, but it's kind of hard. I don't know where that would come from. Everybody's right there.
We've got, but we have all of our potential candidates that I think we've named them all. I mean, there's the obvious one that it really is Chimere. Okay, it's Mother Coral. Maybe it's another witch.
Could be.
I don't know.
I think Coral has the better motive though. Like they took her kids away, right?
I'll tell you, I've got one more.
Three Jawas in a trench coat.
I've got one more. I've got one more for you. And Hank, I want you to remind me this when we get to the end, because I have a great close up of the stranger when we go to look at him. Remind me of the helmet. The helmet. That's all I need you to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's that? Oh, wait, got one more.
One more from TJC.
One more from TJ says, I've also seen theories that it could be more than one person being mind controlled or possessed by one of the witches. That ties into exactly what I want to talk about when we get to the end.
And we've seen them do it already.
Like Team America. You remember that comic? It was the worst comic, but the power was cool.
Right.
They would all, like this superhero would, take over one of their bodies when they needed it, but it was like the power of all of them. They were remember that motorcycle?
I don't remember that, but it's similar to the Netflix series Sense8.
Okay.
Where the pods of 8 people can collectively share knowledge and skills.
Yeah.
From like across the world.
So it'd be like that. Cool. It's like, one superhero with 8 secret identities or whatever. And anybody, one could possess the power. I think.
Yeah. Well, at the spaceport on Coruscant, Osha holds Pip in her hand, telling him that she's glad that she got him serviced. And the droid looks as good as the day they met. After pausing a moment to find her way, Osha is stopped by Master Saul when he calls out to her. Osha apologizes for not saying goodbye, but Master Saul tells her that he needs her help and he wants her to come with him on his mission. Osha's eyes light up and she seems shocked that Master Saul might be asking her to rejoin the Jedi Order. He tells her, well, not exactly, and her head drops as she understands the reality of what he's asking now. He wants her to come with them so that they can get close to May. With a pained look, Osha says she can't. Saul says that when he told May she was alive, that Osha was alive, her eyes softened and she became a different person. Saul says that if Osha comes with him, the small council will allow them both to go, adding that he doesn't want May to get hurt, and he knows that she doesn't either. He says there is still good in her, the part of May that still loves her.
Legacy
Osha.
Line.
What's that?
Legacy line.
Oh, there's still good in him. Yeah, absolutely. Osha looks him squarely and calls May a murderer, which she absolutely is. Saul nods before saying, but she's still your family. Osha drops her gaze as she thinks for a moment. She tells him, fine. Saul smiles at her answer, and Osha blurts out that she refuses to wear a civilian robe. Sorry, I gotta check my notes here for a second. If you don't give me a second here. Did I not put that in there? I believe. Just give me a second here, guys. I didn't put it in there.
Oh.
I made a slide that I didn't actually put in. I wonder if I can screen share it.
Probably.
I'm just going to take a couple seconds here because I definitely, there it is. Why didn't I put that in there? Let me just throw this over here. I know it's a little late to be. Oh, you know what I'll do? I know what I'll do.
Upload it as an overlay.
I will do
on the fly.
No, you are absolutely right, Andy. That's exactly what I'll do. I apologize for the delay here, folks.
It'll be worth it.
But I did want to have that discussion, and I thought, God, we've moved past that now. I don't like going backwards, but
it's still important.
At the same time, yeah, it is. It's worth having that discussion. Let's just say it that way. As I download my slide. Funny that I didn't put that in there. Oh, it's because there's nothing in there. That's why.
Yeah.
Should take a few seconds there. There we go. Now the small council. I do want to go back and talk about that. I have a thing for that. The small council. Is the small council? We know definitively now. Vernestra is not. Andy, you had suggested that maybe she is part of the High Council and she just came down here to,
check
to supervise. Yeah. She's clearly not a member of the High Council if she wants to keep this
from them
secret. Do we think that she is the head, that this council that we are seeing is one of the other 3 sub-councils?
I could see it being that.
Did anybody look it up in terms of its High Republic significance? Maybe there's more.
There just isn't enough information on the High Republic. It does mention that a lot. What is there right now suggests that these councils, these sub-councils, are quorums of 5. But that room, there's like 10 Jedi in that room.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a council plus a strike team?
Padawans.
Oh, that
possibly. I thought of that as well. But then you've got Vernestra, you've got Holden, Ki-Adi Mundi. That's 3 masters.
Soul is only
Soul's
visiting.
not part of it. Soul's not part of it. So my first thought was like, this must be one of the sub councils. And of course there are 3 of them. There is the Council of Reconciliation. That is the council that works with the diplomatic corps to settle interplanetary disputes. We have the Council of First Knowledge, which pertains to basically the criteria, the curriculum for how younglings are trained, as well as the repository of knowledge in the Jedi Archive. And then we have the Reassignment Council, which, strangely enough, is not about assigning Jedi. It's about assigning those members of the Jedi Order who fail and do not become Jedi, but still remain within the Order. So like the Jedi Service Corps, the people that do like the farming or that
the Jedi janitors,
right, that help out the Jedi in
folk.
Right, in
Timmy makes toast.
So my question is this small council one of the sub-councils, or is this like something else?
It could be.
What do you think?
It doesn't, after the explanations are there, doesn't really fit with any one specific council.
No, it doesn't.
Unless she is actually a member of the High Council and she just wants to keep it, secret from the rest of them.
That's an interesting thought. I never thought of that. Now, but that brings up something about her, that she's basically cut from the same cloth as Indara. That whole like, I've got my own motivations, I've got my own wants, and I'm just going to keep secrets because it benefits me. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's sorry about that.
It's worth speculation.
As an overlay, but I definitely did not want to gloss over that.
Questions remain.
Sorry for going backwards there, guys. All right. So Osha says that, fine, I don't want to wear a civilian robe. Cut to the next scene in the Jedi shuttle, and guess what? She's wearing the civilian robe.
Well, at least it's not like some fluorescent orange, civilian marker.
Look at me! Bright, shining beacon. As the Jedi shuttle barrels through hyperspace, Yord Fendar briefs the other Jedi on the mission about Master Kelnaka. He says that no one has heard from the Wookiee Jedi for over a year. At the back of the assembly, Osha sits on a couch wearing the civilian robe. Continuing his briefing, Yord says Kelnaka has been unresponsive to their warning transmissions. Clearly, they're trying to warn him, hey, someone's trying to kill you.
Maybe the ship batteries have died at this point, and it literally is like a powerless thing.
It may be.
TJ's got one here.
Of course, she's on the High Council. She's married to the writer. Okay. All right. Suddenly, Pip lights up and begins to look around. Osha notices the little droid in her hip pouch, and she follows his gaze to a small humanoid rodent whose features are a cross between a beaver and an otter. The alien sniffs at Pip with its large nose. Pip beeps and whistles at the creature, and Osha tries to shush the little droid. But when the otter beaver growls at the droid, Pip deploys a small nozzle and douses the creature with a stream of water. Osha apologizes before getting up and moving over towards Jackie. Leaning in, she whispers, "What's that?" Jackie tells her, "That's Basil." Osha asks, "Is he or they with us?" Just then, Yord clears his throat at the distraction in his briefing, asking if Osha has any questions. And like a student who's just been caught by the teacher, Osha sheepishly answers, No, very comprehensive briefing, Yord." He nods at her, uttering a humph. All right, Basil, quite likely one of the cutesiest creatures we've ever seen.
Move over, Grogu. Everybody needs a Basil.
I love the name, by the way. I'm particular to Basil. I had a role-playing character, a D&D character that I named Basil.
Nice.
So I quite like it. Basil, he is a member of what is called the Tynan species. Basil is a skilled tracker with a hypersensitive nose that allows him to detect his quarry from a distance. Now, the Tynan, as I said before, are an anthropomorphized otter-beaver species, first introduced way back in 1979 in the novel Han Solo's Revenge by Brian Daley. Personal connection, that novel, along with the other two in that trilogy, along with Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, were the first Star Wars novels I ever owned. I got them all for Christmas in 1980.
Nice.
Yeah. So I have a first edition hardcover of that trilogy. I didn't read it until I was in my 30s. All right. So after their introduction in Han Solo's Revenge, that trilogy, the Han Solo trilogy, was adapted for the role-playing game by West End Games, and they were first depicted in the in Han Solo and the Corporate Sector sourcebook in 1993. Their first canon appearance was in the 2016 novel Rogue One Catalyst by James Luceno. Now, this is their first live-action appearance. Now, this is funny, and I included a picture of Osha here just for reference. Descriptive audio is not infallible, as the descriptive audio lady refers to him as a Jedi. Straight up calls him a Jedi. But if you notice, Basil is wearing the same civilian robe as Osha. So either they're both Jedi or they're both civilians.
Civilian Jedi.
Or both former Jedi.
Former? Oh, that's impossible. Darkholder says, Basil needs a very tall boss that runs a hotel and will have a better show. All right.
Did we skip over the one part where we saw in the background another appearance of the hamster?
Oh, it was in the spaceport.
Yes.
Wait a second. That would have been right there. There she is, top left.
Yeah.
Same species as
our Force user's mom.
Aaron from the Bad Batch.
Yeah. I'm loving that character's getting a lot more screen time.
It's likely that they've reused the costume.
More than likely.
Hell yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, got to get your use out of it.
Might as well.
Okay, that brings us to our next mystery character of the episode, and the next collective meltdown of the fandom on the internet.
I thought it was Plo Koon. I was wrong.
Or as I like to call him, No Clune.
Well, first of all, him is a her.
Oh.
Yes. This Keldor Jedi, contrary to what some viewers may have thought as being the young Plo Koon, is not. Thank you to the official Star Wars X account, as well as this week's episode guide. We get a really good look at this new character, and her name is Ithia Pan.
Maybe it's Plo Koon's mom?
Oh, I don't know. I never even considered that.
Judging by the comic panel there, they look like,
I included the comic panel just so, because it's again, did the Star Wars fandom just collectively forget that the Keldor species are methane breathers? They don't breathe oxygen.
Remember the mask in
Andor.
In Andor, and we were like, do all Keld, so now we have a little more
context that they don't all wear the same mask.
No, exactly.
But the Andor mask is very much Plo's mask.
It very, very much.
Yeah. With those tusks on the bottom are unmistakable.
Yeah.
But Ithia Pan's stylistically somewhat different.
They look kind of like senile predators. They've lost all their dreadlock hair, and now their fangs are just kind of drooping there.
It's just I don't even want to say what that mouth looks like because it's not fit for.
Arnold says it.
All right.
Moving on.
While dropping out of hyperspace, the Polan shuttle detaches from its drive section and it makes planetfall over Kofar. Through a thick fog, the shuttle lands at what can barely be called a settlement. Using a translator device, Jeki speaks with the locals, asking the whereabouts of Master Kalnaka. At the same time, Yord notices Osha still has the Jedi-issued stun blaster slung to her chest, and he tells her that she'll need to hand it back. Content to keep it, she tells Yord, no, it's mine now. He corrects her, reminding Osha that it is the property of the Jedi Order, and he insists that she hands it over. This whole sequence, and we've had a couple other weird interactions between these two. I get the impression that this is some kind of weird power struggle for him, like from their shared time as younglings in the Jedi Academy.
Probably a little bit of competition going on between the two, and now he's fully realized himself into a knight.
Well, this is it. I suspect that when Osha was still in the Jedi Order, she was probably more advanced than he was.
Yeah.
But now that she's left and he's like, I'm a knight.
Yeah.
You're not. It's like he's just kind of flexing on her.
Yes.
Concluding her conversation with the local alien, Jeki says that Master Kalnaka went into the forest and never came back. With the thick fog rolling all around them, Master Soul steps to the edge of the foothill overlooking the dense forest, asserting that Kalnaka is in there. The other Jedi fall in behind him, staring at the forest while the haunting shrieks of unseen wildlife fill the air.
But at least we know now that there's at least somewhat of a settlement here, right?
Well, it's barely a settlement. It's like a collection. I don't even know what you call that. It's not even a hut. It's like a
shelter,
like a lean-to,
maybe,
and a couple of guys. I don't know.
It was the largest car I could afford.
And we kind of, I don't know, not touched on it, but the other two guys that originally tried to stalk Kalnaka, where he stole their blaster and they went running off.
Oh yeah,
right?
we
so there are people running around.
We've never heard from them again.
No,
but I'm assuming
unless he cooked them.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean,
he's hungry.
Wookiees are omnivorous.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe spend some time with the Ewoks.
Maybe.
The show just got better.
Osha asks how they are to find him. Yord removes a swath of mustard-colored fabric from his belt. Presumably, this is a shred of clothing once worn by Kalnaka. Yord says, we have a tracker. Then kneels down before Basil, who takes the fabric and he sniffs it intently. With Basil's nose leading the way, the Jedi follow after him in single file. Osha pulls up with Yord to ask if he knows what the Basil is saying. Yord corrects her that Basil is his name, adding that while most Padawans learn Shriwook, he learned Tynan, which he calls something more nuanced.
I love that line. Like, there's options for language learning in the Jedi Temple.
Yeah. But the chatter about Basil was just an excuse to get Yord alone, and Osha pours out that she needs to ask him a favor. She tells him that Soul thinks that May can be saved. Yord says that Master Soul is a very wise Jedi who must have a reason to suspect that May will listen to what it is that Osha has to say. Osha insists if it comes to it, and she doesn't listen to her, that Yord must stop her because she will not be able to. And she pleads with Yord, telling him that she can't afford to hesitate a second time. Sensing her distress, Yord softens his tone. I have known you since we were younglings. May has always been your wound. Maybe Saul brought you here to face her, but maybe he brought you here to face yourself. It's the most Jedi thing he said the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
He actually, I feel like in this moment, he actually is a Jedi and not just a robe ironing comic relief character.
Mm.
Yord then tells Osha that they need to catch up, and he gets back on the trail as Osha stares at him walking away. Well, then we cut to May and Kymir as they reach the edge of the forest and begin pushing their way through the dense underbrush. Meanwhile, the Jedi have made their way into a different area of the forest, but in this area, the trees are covered in bulbous sacs that resemble giant arthropods curled around the trunks. I never once for a second took these as plant matter. Like to me, that they were animals right from like the word go.
Yeah, these are no tree nuts that you've ever seen before.
The segmented chitinous body just said,
like insect armor.
Arthropod.
Yeah.
Basil wails something distressing, and Yord translate that he senses something is wrong here, something rotten. Saul says they should keep up their pace and keep their voices down because they don't know what lives out here. As the group moves off again, Osha pauses next to one of the membranous sacks. Staring at it, she reaches out and touches it. For a moment, it seems as if Osha is somewhere else. Then Jackie calls to her, Osha, and she snaps back to reality. Jackie motions with her hand, come on, or her head, come on, and Osha brings up the rear of the group. But as she leaves, the bulbous sack unfurls itself. Indeed, it is some kind of giant arthropod, and it scuttles around the tree trunk and climbs into the forest canopy. Osha turns at the sound of the skittering creature, only to see a mound of goo where the creature had been just a moment before. Then a chittering sound from above catches her attention, and following the noise with her eyes, she spots a shadowy creature flitting between the trees. Unsure of what to make of it, she calls out to Saul, who rushes to defend her. Through the trees, the giant arthropod hovers on veined membranous dragonfly-like wings. Saul orders the other Jedi to stand down as he activates his lightsaber. Then the creature swoops down, flying right past Osha on a beeline to Saul, who cleaves it in two. Jackie remarks, the creature went straight for the lightsaber, while Yord posits the creature is attracted to light. Saul collects himself. Then, looking at Osha, he says, let's move. It'll be dark soon. Then forges ahead back to the front of the expedition. Osha looks at one of the other arthropods still wound around the tree and then forms up with Jackie to push ahead. All right. Interesting enough, the subtitles this week gave us the information on what this thing is called. This is a new creature here. It's called the Umbra Moth. And we get that when it's like it wails at her, and it just says in parentheses, Umbra Moth. But that's all we get. Kind of reminds me, got a head like the thing in Star Trek that they shoved in Chekhov's ears.
Reminds me a little bit of a Yu-Gi-Oh monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because there's like the Great Moth and then that whole line there of starting with Cocoon of Evolution. But there is a version that kind of resembles it, so.
Cool. Definitely, I thought the wings looked, like a fly-like or all dragonfly, I guess.
Wouldn't want to see one coming at you, though.
No. Well, again, if next episode is night,
and
everything's all out to, it's time to eat.
Especially when we have that many lightsabers going at once.
Time to have a snacky. Well, there's a bunch of unnamed Jedi in this group.
The red shirts are here.
That's right. A short time later, as the Jedi move deeper into the forest, Jackie senses that something is wrong with Osha, and she asks her, what is it? Osha says that she could sense the Umbra Moth. And when she touched it, she disturbed it, and because of that, it's now dead. Jackie tells her that it's an honor to witness anything or anyone transform into the Force, noting that Osha does have more experience with death than she does. Osha remarks that she could never accept death the way, as she calls it, a true Jedi should. Jackie questions her, a true Jedi? Osha's answer is very personal, as she tells her that she just couldn't accept what she had lost. It felt unfair that she had resentment towards her sister while still missing her at the same time. Jackie takes a step closer to Osha and very tenderly tells her, we're not defined by what we lose. We are defined by what we survive. She places a comforting hand on Osha's arm. You've survived a lot. We cut to a long shot of the forest. The sun has begun to set and is just over the canopy of trees. Down below, May and Chimere run through the forest. The smuggler leads the way, encouraging May, come on, it's just 10 more minutes south of here. May stops short and drops her pack. Chimere says she can't stop now, but May drops her outer cloak and she slumps down against a large rock to rest. Panting, she says, I have to fight a Wookiee after this trek. I'd like to rest if that's all right with you. Chimere throws his head back, telling her it's not, but okay. May takes out her canteen. Sitting there, she thinks out loud that this is a test. Chimere doesn't understand. She looks at him and tells him squarely, "It's not. This isn't a test. Sorry, is not a test." She looks at him squarely. "It's not a test," noting that her master calls it the final lesson. And she quotes, "Your final lesson is the one you teach yourself. You will kill a Jedi without a weapon." May then says that attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for, asking, "How do you kill someone like that, unarmed?" She repeats herself that this isn't a test and it's impossible. The look on her face is fearful and maybe a little hopeless. Chimere tells her matter-of-factly, it's not impossible, and she knows it. May guzzles down the last of the water before looking up at him and declaring, "I want this more than anything, but it's impossible." With a quiver in her voice, she adds, "And if I don't do it, he'll kill me." Her eyes drop. "You don't even care." With a pitiful look, Chimere drops his backpack and outer cloak. He tells her she's right, and he's going to go find her some more water. She should rest. Kneeling down to her eye level, he says, "You're losing your nerve, and we can't have that, can we?" Then, gathering up the pack and the cloak in his arms, he rushes off in search of water. May remains slumped on the rock, panting until Chimere is out of sight. Then, suddenly, her exhaustion is gone, and she gets up and surveys the forest around her. Looking up into the trees, she spots what she's looking for, then picks up her bag and begins to take out a rope. Now, I had to go through this a couple times before I put it all together. In May's description of "it's not a test," where is it here? Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for. Even May believes her master was once a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, with the sun dipping below the horizon, thick clouds swirl over the mountains. As the Jedi move through the forest, one of them reports that he can't see Basil anymore. Yord and the others enter the clearing. Yord is frustrated at Basil's disappearance as he declares, "Great, he's vanished again." He sighs as he mutters, "I swear, we need a tracker just to track our tracker." Yord calls out to Master Soul and informs him that they've lost Basil. But their conversation is cut short when a woman's screams ring out. It's May, and she screams again, calling for help, and the Jedi rush to find her.
I think that was just a strictly for comedy line, because anybody else would have literally put a tracking chip on Basil. And just
here's a device, beeper, and we'll just follow you with our comm. Yeah.
Go ahead, Basil. Run as fast as you can.
I like that that they lean into his strength, that it's his nose.
Yeah.
Because in the scene where May meets him, he's put his goggles down and they're blacked out. It's like the
he's
visor
going
on
strictly on.
Yeah, he's on scent alone.
Yeah. But and that other line, he's vanished again. So
again,
he does this every time. So
no, you're right. With the sun dipping below the horizon, thick clouds swirl over the mountains.
Why was May screaming for help? I still don't understand it.
She set a trap.
She set a trap for Chimere.
That's why she was screaming for help?
Yeah.
She's screaming for the Jedi?
No, she's screaming for Chimere. She doesn't. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't know the Jedi are here.
Oh, so I understand. Not really.
I remember where the line.
She's screaming help, so Chimere would run to her.
That's right,
and get trapped.
Yeah, it just so happens that the Jedi just happen to be here as well. She's like, if you pay attention to the nuance in this episode, she falls behind him. She's very suspicious of him. And then she's faking being exhausted when she slumps down on the rock, because as soon as he's gone, she stops. Like, she's heavy breathing, right? As soon as he's gone, she's like, and she sets to work to set the trap.
Yeah. Now there is a line. I don't know if we've hit it already. I think we did pass it, but it relates to the title of the episode.
What's that?
Where she had to kill the Wookiee before the end of day.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it is in there.
Is it in this one?
Yeah, it's in this one, because she said that was part of this mission or whatever. You got to kill the Jedi with no weapons before the sun goes down.
Oh,
that's why it's such a rush to get to him.
Strangely, I forgot to include that. But where are we at here? Okay, now with the sun dipping below the horizon, thick clouds swirl over the mountains. As the Jedi move through the forest, one of them reports that he can't see Basil anymore. Okay, we've already gone through that.
Yeah,
sorry.
Moving on one more.
All right. Now she screams, again calling for help. The Jedi rush off to find her. At the same time, Chimera, who's just refilled the canteen, hears her screams as well, and he runs back to the rock where he left her. Unbeknownst to him, May has set a man-sized snare, and Chimera, right on cue, trips the device, yanking him off his feet, leaving him dangling upside down several feet off the ground. Now it's Chimera's turn to call out for help. May strides out from cover, and she walks over to him, and she looks pleased with herself, seeing him dangling there. She says that having just run through the forest for an extremely long time, she's come to the realization that she doesn't have to do this anymore. She doesn't have to kill a Jedi without a weapon or keep the deal anymore. Confused, Chimera blurts out, "What?" May goes to collect her bag from the rock as Chimera tells her to cut him down. Instead, May packs the bag as she tells him he was wrong. And with Osha being alive, that changes everything. She says her loyalty is to her sister and not his master. Chimera wriggles and writhes as he sways back and forth in the snare. Very animated, he asks May, "What are you doing?" And May plainly tells him that she intends to turn herself over to Master Kelnaka and the Jedi Order. Chimera desperately pleads with her, No, stop. But her bag is packed. Slinging it over her shoulder, she points down the trail. "It's 10 minutes south, right?" In a last bid to sway her, Chimera says the Jedi will imprison her. May's eyes dart to the side, and her voice turns serious as she answers, "Not after I tell them who I know." With his mouth agape, Chimera says he'll kill you. But May is resolved and forcefully retorts, "He'd have to find me first, and I don't know if even he could make it all the way over here without a guide." Turning to leave, May tells Chimera, "I have to admit it, I did need you," then wanders off into the forest. Chimera reaches for her as she goes, but she's too far out of reach. May! That line struck me earlier this week. Andy, you sent me a little, I don't know if call it a meme, I guess.
I suppose.
I guess technically it's a meme. More just a visual archive of all of the Force henges that we've seen in live action Star Wars, reminding me that we got one in this series as well on Brendock. And it made me think about that in conjunction with this line, "He'd have to find me first. And I don't know if even he could make it all the way over here without a guide." Is May suggesting that her master comes from another galaxy?
Maybe. But like in the moment, you would think it's make it from wherever the hell they landed to the Wookiee.
Yeah.
But there could be larger implications there too, for sure.
Well, she's shocked when it's like he's here.
Yeah.
Like she didn't expect him.
No.
Like I don't think she was thinking he was on the planet.
Well, it's a largely uncharted planet. Even bounty hunters won't go here. I don't think it's that deep.
Okay. I just thought it was an interesting, we've got a henge in every live action Star Wars series, well, except Andor, I guess.
Yeah, but they didn't really focus on the Jedi, right?
I think they have more on their plate than they can handle already, let alone starting to open up a whole other galaxy.
Maybe. Well, I mean, but that's already been done for them.
Well, no, I get it. But I mean, to weave that into what's going on here.
Yeah. But again, and then it's like going back to the Sith, the Sith species. Did they originate outside of the known Star Wars galaxy?
We can't.
I don't remember. Korriban?
I mean, it's all legends. So until someone,
I guess,
canonizes it now,
right.
It's even more divisive now.
It's all just speculation, I guess.
Because at some point, I'm guilty of this too. Legend stands until it's overturned. You know what I mean? It's somewhere in my head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of fans are. It's like, well, until they tell me otherwise. The flip side of that is, well, now
we sort of did tell you otherwise.
We've been told otherwise, and people are like, "Nah, I don't accept that."
Which is headcanon. We've always accepted that too, except when death threats are involved, it kind of gets stupid.
Yeah.
Overchanging Wikipedia entries. Come on, people.
I've edited Wikipedia for fuck's sakes. Yeah. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other thing.
I'll kill you.
It's just a freaking website.
Well, the Jedi rush into a sparse grove, Finding no one there, they pause to get their bearings. Jackie tells Yord that she couldn't have gone far and wonders where she could be. Master Soul spots something in the distance, and he moves to investigate while Jackie asks Yord where Basil is. Frustrated with her, Yord remarks, "I don't know, Padawan." Now, this is the part that I was talking about early on, that it's sort of open to interpretation. Saul stares at a cluster of foliage. The layers of tree trunks, branches, and leaves bear a strange resemblance to the Ascension tattoo. Even more unnerving is that the cluster is backlit with an orange glow reminiscent of the fire that night on Brendock, and it seems as though Soul is taken back by what he sees. Osha steps up behind him and asks, "What is it?" Soul breathes heavy as he tells her, "It's nothing." But even Osha can see through him. She questions him, "You wouldn't let me confront May on Olega." Olega, that's the planet where Torben took the poison?
Yeah, with the big dust cloud use.
Soul tells her that she wasn't ready. Osha asks, "But I'm ready now?" Soul says this is different, and Osha tells him she feels different, that she can sense things again the way that she used to, and that gives her the courage to face her sister. Like a protective father, Soul grasps her shoulder. "You're not going to face her. You're going to face your past." Sighing heavily, Soul adds, "Both of us will." Osha blinks, a confused look on her face. Soul continues, "Once we get May safely to the ship, I'll explain everything. I promise." And that's where I say, here's a crack in Soul, like he's hiding something.
There is some information he is in possession of that.
It's the only thing I could come to was like he is deep inside himself here. Like this is a huge emotional moment for him, and they make a point of focusing on that cluster of foliage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I didn't know if they're berries or what they are, but they're the dots within there's those outer trunks that kind of frame it, the round shape, and I'm like, is that reminding him of the night on Brendock?
Could be.
I feel that's
or at the very least triggering like a Jedi vision or something.
I don't know.
Force vision.
I don't know. Well, then show us the vision. True. You know what I mean? Show us the vision.
I don't see it.
I just feel
my eyes are super bad, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I was having trouble deciding what it was, but like the emotional beat here is like unmistakable.
I just feel like he feels the presence of the bad guy.
That's not yet. I don't think he feels that until later. There's a moment.
Feeling May's presence.
Possibly.
Maybe.
But they make a point to show us this. Like they show us that piece of foliage, and it's clear like that's what we're supposed to be looking at. It's not just like
a lot of the budget went to that shot. So
maybe. Talking about sensory stuff, I'll get to that. I wish I'd recorded it, but I didn't. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
May runs through the forest, backlit by the sun, which is nearly set. She comes to a stop at the sight of Kalnaka's hut off in the distance. Resolved to turn herself in, she moves forward, but accidentally trips over some foliage, landing face first into a cluster of pods that belch out some orange spores. Focusing through the dust, she spots Basil, now wearing a visor that completely obscures his vision, is just standing a few steps away from her. Well, the Tynan lifts his visor and, spotting the assassin laying in front of him, roars as loud as he can. Yord says that Basil has found May, and the Jedi run to catch her. Yord tells Osha, "Stay behind us." Meanwhile, May is back on her feet, and she runs at an all-out sprint for the door to Kalnaka's hut. Basil continues to screech and howl as the Jedi draw near, and May races inside, closing the door behind her. Once inside, she calls out to Master Kalnaka, who's sitting slumped in his chair near a console. When the Wookiee doesn't answer her, May cautiously moves around the hut until she can see that the Jedi Master is dead. A still smoldering lightsaber wound crosses his chest.
Visible.
Fear creeps into May's voice, and she shudders. He's here.
Imagine the smell of burnt Wookiee hair.
Her breathing quickens as her fear grows, just as the last rays of sun fade out, leaving the hut in darkness. Outside, the Jedi party arrive. Jackie calls out for Master Kalnaka. The Jedi fan out in a semicircle in front of the hut as one of them calls out, "In the name of the Galactic Republic and the Order of the Jedi." Anyone inside that domicile should come out with your hands where we can see them. Good cop, good cop. Yord punctuates the demand with, that means you, May Anasea. May, who has been watching from a crack in the wooden door, pulls away and looks around the hut as a strange rumbling noise rises up for a moment before fading out to silence again. That is our audio cue that he has arrived.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird, I can't describe it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
May returns her attention to the Jedi outside. Sensing something, Sol turns his head uneasily over his shoulder. Jecki notices her master. Osha, unaware of what's going on, doesn't see that a black-clad figure is levitating down to the ground just a few feet behind her. But she stiffens and her mouth opens. Surely she's sensing something. The Jedi all turn to look, as does a wide-eyed Osha. The black-cloaked figure strides toward Osha, who stands there unmoving. Jecki asks, what is that? The figure continues walking slowly towards Osha and the Jedi, the features of his visage becoming clearer. A flared helmet with a long, dark slit across the eye line, and a face mask with a crenellated jawline giving the impression of a grinning maw. One of the Jedi orders the stranger to identify themselves, but they make no move to do so. Instead, they continue to advance. Yord places a hand on his lightsaber and forcefully orders the stranger to stand down. Inside the hut, May silently watches what's unfolding outside. Her breath quickens as the stranger now stands face to face with her sister. Osha stares unblinking at the stranger as she stands there trembling. With a snap hiss, a crimson lightsaber blade raises up in an on-guard position. In response, all the Jedi draw their blades. Master Sol yells for Osha to run. Then he leads a charge as he and all the Jedi rush to attack the black-clad stranger. The stranger holds up 2 fingers on his left hand and with a flick, force tosses Osha aside. Then, with Sol and the rest of the Jedi nearly on top of him, the stranger thrusts his hand at them, and all the Jedi are hurled back in a cloud of flying dirt and debris. We cut to black. And I can't help it. It is the funniest thing that's come out of the episode this week. And I love it.
Helmet.
Smilo Ren.
Smilo Ren.
I love it. Got a little helmet flare. Obviously, the helmet. I get the Kylo Ren analogy.
It's got that like the red bleed on it, where it's almost been reassembled again.
Well, the red is a descriptive audio lady describes that as rust.
Okay.
I don't know if that's exactly what it is, or if it's more of the. You know how we saw the art,
the Death Troopers, where they had their,
yeah, exactly.
That
it's the Japanese
Japanese
art, kintsugi.
That's it.
There's a bunch of different Knights of Ren concepts, and there's a few that are sort of in that wheelhouse.
I feel like this is probably concepts that probably were maybe not
thrown around.
It certainly works in as far as that goes. I like that it almost looks like the smile. It looks like electrical conduit,
maybe
like flexible conduit. Anyway, that is our stranger.
Darkholder's got a good point here.
What do we got here? Darkholder says the best part of the episode is tricking the Jedi to ignite their bright sabers so all the tree creatures will attack them.
I have to know if the Jedi organized the way they were standing so that their blades were yellow, green, blue, yellow, green. Did they get together before? You know, when you show up to work and you're wearing the same shirt as another guy?
Well, that didn't work out that way. I mean, it's yellow, blue, yellow, green, green, yellow, green.
They're just, well, I mean, there's no two, they don't repeat. They just got it. They're very well organized.
In the middle with the blue. Yeah, I guess so. Yellow, blue, yellow, green, blue, green, yellow, green.
Maybe the first letter of each color of the saber spells out a secret message.
Yord is a Y. That's why he's got yellow. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, Smilo Ren, what do you think of that guy?
Pretty imposing.
I like the look of him. I'm not gonna deny that. He's got an imposing look.
He looks like something straight out of anime.
Yeah. He kind of does, doesn't he? Yeah. I was watching I watched a Star Wars Meg video this week, and she said Smilo Ren. It was the first time I'd heard it. and I was going to attribute it to her, but I've since seen it in several other places.
Seen it around. I don't know.
I don't know who came up with this, but it is
genius.
Yeah. It's definitely the funniest thing this week.
I've heard a few, and I can't remember any of them because of how good that one is.
Yeah. Guy Smiley, Sith Smiley. Anyway, that is episode 4, Day. That one's another one in the can. Relatively speaking, compared to last week, better, worse, same?
Better
than last week.
We got lightsabers.
Okay.
We're moving forward here. So
now that we're through it, any change of heart or change of opinion, any sway one way or the other?
I think we're going to continue on an upward trend. I hope.
How about you, Hank? Where are you at?
I mean, they have nothing to lose, right? With me, like, so it can't get any worse.
Oh, that sounds like a famous last word.
I say that.
That sounds like famous last words when you say that.
I say that.
Well, it was definitely a nice change of pace in the forest where, like you had mentioned earlier, Hank, like everything felt so closed in. This brought back, like, yeah, we're on a whole wide open space here. Right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I mean, yeah, there was lots of trees and foliage, but it wasn't as condensed or
I think that they made a point to show, talking about the trees, they made a point to show us how gargantuanly tall they were several times.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think the mountain backdrop kind of helped sort of create a sense of scale for this place. Certainly I felt like I didn't feel like it was closed in, although ostensibly
I'm getting a moderate, like, it's not a huge deal. I'm getting a tiny bit tired with the Earth-like environments. I mean, I understand the budget constraints. I understand that, but like Felucia or Mustapha, like, there are extreme environments in Star Wars that we could be.
Yep.
I got a lot of Endor vibes here.
A lot of Endor vibes. A lot of we get it. We see these rhyming stanzas. We visit snow planets a lot. We visit desert planets a lot. And I mean, it's funny that even as in terms of exoplanets and what the James Webb is finding, and it's kind of holding true. Like, there are a lot of biome exoplanets out there, apparently.
I wouldn't mind seeing more Star Wars in the stars.
Yes. Little space fighty poo.
Can we get some more space?
That would be, yeah. We were hoping for a little Rogue Squadron style.
Even the episodes of Rebels and the Bad Batch that took place on a moon in a vacuum. Like, let's get some suits on. Let's get some environmental stuff going on. Like, I'm good with that.
It's Community. Why is it called Star Trek? Why is it called Planet Trek? You guys never visit a star even once.
So, speculations for next week. What do you think? This episode was day. A good chance that next week or this coming Tuesday, it's going to be night
or nightfall.
Nightfall, yeah.
I do believe that Osha is going to recover a bit more of her Jedi skill. And that's going to
She's already opening up.
Yeah.
Because that's a good point, too.
We had talked offline about this, and I couldn't remember until yesterday when we went down to
when we were on the road.
But that line that Luke gives Mando, like, if you're not going to train him, let him just grow up and forget.
Let him
his
fade away and forget.
I think we're heading towards a bait and switch, because of, and I thought it was weird. I thought it was like very clunky. I thought her character 180. Going from I've murdered several Jedi.
Yeah.
I'm going to murder another one. I need to do this, or no, I don't need to do this. Never mind. I thought that was a little weird. Yeah. There's also a turn that Osha makes that I thought was a little weird. Like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want anything to do with her. I want to go live my own life. Please. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bait and switch. I think you're going to see them cross over. I think May is going to be the good guy. Osha will be the bad guy.
There's an interesting thing about that. And maybe it's lost in the nuance. It took me my second viewing to pick it up, but she brightens up. She thinks that he's asking her to rejoin the Jedi, and she considers it. And then it's only when he's like, well, not exactly. Oh, okay. You don't want me to be a Jedi. You just want me to
Well, 16 years without training is a long, or however long it's been. You just can't, it's not like you'd have to start back day one. Did you notice too that the younglings all after I went off don't give a child a loaded weapon? Oh no, they do that with they do that with Padawans all the time.
They do,
except in the Acolyte where they give them wooden swords.
And they are older than the kids in
way or like twice the order. Like one of them is a Padawan already. Like weird, man, weird.
Anyway. That's an interesting though. Well, like again, we can pick it apart or we can see it for what it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that there are older students, perhaps even those that have already been selected as Padawans, that still do collective training. That's something we've not really seen before.
It could be like advancing grades. Like, okay, you're going to start off with Form 1, and once you master that, then you can move on to Form 2, 3,
Jackie
4, 5,
could have been teaching the toast making kids.
That's possible. Let's check in here. We've got Dark Holder's got one for us. He says, this show has so many loose threads that still need to be answered. How are the twins created? Why is Soul and the rest of the Jedi so haunted? And so on, which makes it tough to rate the show right now.
And just because of the flow of it, I think because this was such a cliffhanger, we might get another flashback episode.
I feel like
just to draw it out, make you wait for that big battle.
Part of me feels like I would like that, to be honest, whether that happens or not. I would like the night on Brendock from May's perspective. She's crying, she's holding the lamp, she burns the journal. Osha runs to the window, and then we don't see May again until the catwalk.
Yeah, where she falls to her death.
I made a joke though, now that thinking about it, when it's like, where's Mama? And May's like, she's dead. And I'm like, but your mother's in the courtyard, like several stories down. You mean you ran all the way down, went outside, saw that, came all the way back up? Oh, that little, I know that again, that's kind of like, it's trivial, but at the same time, it's not.
I mean, they kind of gave it away that she survived, right? Because the catwalks all had railings.
That's true. That's so true.
Railings save lives.
They do. Also Jedi that grab you when you fall.
That too.
But don't use the Force to save your sister. Anyway, enough of that. I'm still in, again, is this the best Star Wars we've ever seen? No. Is it the worst? I don't think it's the worst. It's hard for me. It would be hard for me to quantify what the worst Star Wars is. I'd really have to put some thought into that. But again, these last two episodes, this week and last week, I enjoyed them. Certainly, the microscopic analysis is certainly helpful in that regard. So I know most of you that are watching it have no reason to ever want to do that, but it does help to pick up on
it adds extra layers to it.
Dark Holder says, I think 5 will be on Brendock and 6 will be a flashback episode. Brendock is the planet where the Coven was.
Yes, the mining colony.
So we're going back to Brendock in the here and now.
Could be.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. And then flashback with episode 6, and then 2 more to wrap it up. Sean says, I think it's great for Star Wars stuff. Oh, good. That's a very positive comment, Sean. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Well, stick with us as we continue to cover the Acolyte right here on our little show. Fandom Power presents the Acolyte in Review. We're back again next week with episode 5, possibly called Night.
Maybe.
Don't forget to check us out on Tuesday nights. Andy and I are here every Tuesday for Random Fandom. I think it's just a regular episode this week,
as far as I know.
Yeah. Hank, did you get out for free RPG day on Saturday?
No. What?
Free RPG day came and went. It was on Saturday.
That was ill advertised. I rolled a 1.
Yeah,
apparently.
I picked up some stuff. We went out to our local comic shop.
Comic shops were doing it. There may still be some stuff kicking around then in my.
There might be.
Yeah,
there might.
I'll go check. I'll throw myself on the mercy of the court.
Nice. Yeah, we'll be here to talk about that. Last week we had Jordan from PB&J Comics come on the show. That was a wonderful Tuesday night. So yeah, regular show on Tuesday night. We're here 6 p.m. Eastern talking about, well, not all of, but some entertainment headlines that caught our attention over the last week or so.
Are we going to bring up Hawk 2?
Is that entertainment? Is that pop culture?
That is the viral thing of the day. Oh my God.
I've seen the I can't call it an interview. I've seen the segment once, and then I've seen a bunch of the remixes stuff that is spun out of it.
Have you seen the AI generated country hit song?
Is it in the same vein as Ain't Got Time for That?
No,
ain't nobody got time for that.
No, it's it uses the Hawk 2 and a couple little other quotes from the interview.
No, Hawk 2.
Yeah, there you go.
Not Hawk 2, Hawk 2. No, I'm done. I'm not going to say it again. I promise. It's awful.
It's viral. Oh my God.
Edmonton Oilers fan agreed to do Playboy.
I saw that as well.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with Star Wars, but hey,
it's somebody's a fan of stuff.
All right, sorry. Things to look forward to on Tuesday night. Things to look forward
to. On dicks be with you,
and flashing your boobies at a hockey game.
Hey, it's good for the Oilers. It means they're going to win.
Sure. Okay. Yep. There's a joke there. I'm not going to say it. Anything you guys want to finish on before we wrap it up for tonight?
Not that I know of. I am anticipating the next episode. I want to see what happens next.
Yeah, so do I. I do as well.
We've been doing this for years now.
Yeah, we're like what? This is year 4.
Well, into year
4 for us.
I don't know about your wives, but my wife has been nothing but a saint and patient and watching these shows over and over and over and over again with me.
Yeah,
to help me, do my thing too. And this is the first one in 3 years where she's just not watching anymore.
Checked out.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
No,
it is not for everybody. And the divisiveness has made that clear.
I think this is what maybe Disney is going for as a jumping on point for new audiences that haven't been there.
What's weird is that
all 40 years of it.
Like, I have to wonder, and I haven't seen. Now, granted, I'm not reading all the comments because it's just it's too much for me, and it actually hurts on an emotional level. It hurts me because I am a Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. I don't want to wake up and turn on the internet and read how people are wanting to tear it down.
No,
but it's like, where are all the High Republic fans that were there when the novels were dropped and the High Republic comic books? Like, are they out there? Are they not defending this thing? Like, where are those fans?
Yeah, there's.
Or are they being silenced?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel a little bit, and it's maybe a bit controversial, but if you understand what your fan base is and what it could be, and you have a bunch of dead brush laying on the ground, do you pour gas on it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think it's that bad. I think that all of the rhetoric and the divisiveness is just, I feel like there's a lot of people who are just caught up in the, I can sit here from the relative safety and security of my computer and I can say whatever I want with impunity, whether they believe in it or not, that it's discourse for discourse sake. And they just want to see people get revved up.
It's indicative of what's happening in the whole world. And because Star Wars is such a big property, you can't escape the poison that the internet is.
No, you really can't.
No,
you really can't. It's sad. It's sad. All right, everybody. I think that's it for us. Good night. As far as I'm concerned, I thought I had a good time. Had a good time with you guys. Thank you to everybody who showed up tonight, who participated in the live chat. Always love hearing from you guys. If you're catching this video in the replay, drop a comment. We try to respond to as many of those as we can. If you don't feel like leaving a comment, a thumbs up or emoji of your choice, anything to let YouTube know that this video is worth pushing out to other people who might like it. And on that note, everybody, that's all I got. So for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
I'm Hank.
And we will see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.